I know. I call the meeting to order. There's no closed session, but we do have a land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather today is the land traditionally used by the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Chinootan people. We acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge and philosophies of the indigenous peoples with whom we share this land today. Are there any declarations of a pecuniary interest in accordance with the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none. No presentations, but we do have a delegation. I need a motion that the Council of the Township of Wellesley accept Randy Schaefer as the delegation, moved by Councillor Brick, second by Councillor Seven, all in favor, and that's carried. Mr. Schaefer, you have the podium.
Good evening, everybody. I was just reading in the paper this past week about the dog park and that some of the users are wanting the entranceway is shoveled by the municipality. And I get it that they want it because it's owned by the municipality. During this past week, I put a post on Facebook on the Heidelberg page about snow removal on the sidewalks. And I had numerous people saying that they don't want their taxes raised. And I said, I made the comments about how many people use the arena and how many people use the sidewalks. And they said, well, our taxes would go up. And I said, our taxes went up 14% that one year, and 7% of that or over that was for the new arena. And only 20 to 25% of the people might use it. 100% of the people use the sidewalks. And the infrastructure went up just over 1% that year. Now I see that they're wanting to have the municipality do the snow removal in the dog park for a few people. And there was a comment made about buying a shovel and having a local municipality employee doing snow removal. It's the same as what I'm trying to push. I don't own it. I don't even use it. I can't walk that far since my motorcycle accident. So, and I made posts like that on that Facebook page saying I never seen one person volunteer to come and help shovel the sidewalk in front of my house. People said, "Oh, we do it. We do it." Well, where have you been? No, everybody was gumming, but as soon as I made the comments about the infrastructure only going up 1%, a few percent using the arena, like 25, and we have to do all this. I even made the comment about going on vacation for a week or even a weekend. I got to hire somebody to look after the sidewalk. I don't own it. But then I see that they're going to shovel the walkway for dogs. That's just not right. And then I see in the KW area, they're cleaning the bicycle lanes. So I phoned the municipality and at the office and asked if there's any bicycle lanes in the township. And they said, no, not as of yet. And here they're spending money on diesel to clean the side or the bicycle lanes for what, 1% of the population, and 100% of the population uses these sidewalks. Why should I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I leave tonight, and I have to make sure I have somebody that's going to clean the sidewalk. I don't own it. So I don't know how I'm going to try to convince everybody that this needs to be handled. We're all getting older along that street. The neighbor beside me has hired a contractor. And when the first year after my motorcycle accident, I come here and I was told to hire a contractor. Why would I hire a contractor for something I don't own? So I just want it brought to everybody's attention that if you're going to buy a shovel, well, you better buy a shovel for everybody that has a piece of that sidewalk so that they can shovel the sidewalk. Because why buy a shovel for them to do this dog park that for what? 0.5% of the population uses? And 100%, like I said, 100% of the people use these sidewalks. If you're coming into town to go from Stemler's to the gas station, you're using the sidewalk. I just wanted it brought to everybody's attention. Okay.
Any questions, delegations, no questions? Well, thank you very much.
I have had the region call me about the snow going on the sidewalk. I get it. There's not much of a barrier there. And I talked to the gentleman and I said, I don't want to be the thorn, but I'm the thorn. And I don't want to be that guy. But if I shovel the sidewalk, it's a good thing I have a blower, but since my accident, I lay on the floor every night crying in pain. And it's not because of the sidewalk. It's not because of that, but partially it is. Why should I have to do it? So.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your concerns.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, we will move to recreation. Councillor Wagner.
Thank you. Rec 2 2026 Linwood Recreation Service Board fundraising account balance, motion required. The recommendation that the Council of the Township of Wellesley allocate the remaining balance of $39,640 from the Linwood Recreation Service Board fundraising account towards the Linwood Playground enhancements scheduled for 2026, and further that this amount be combined with the approved allocation of $30,000 from the Recreation Facility Reserves account and the remaining balance of $34,918 from the Lloyd Brenner account for a total project budget not exceeding $1,004,558. Do I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Subban, seconded by Councillor Brick. Discussion? Would you like to bring an update?
Sure. Thanks, Councillor Wagner. This report requests that the remaining funds from the Linwood Rec Service Board be allocated towards this project. Over the past few years, the Linwood Rec Service Board has been fundraising for new playground features. In the past few years, there's also been funds allocated from the recreation reserve accounts, including the facilities reserves and the Lloyd Brenner account. By using the funds from both of these reserves and the fundraising reserves, there's an opportunity to enhance the project into a larger scale project. Staff have shown in the report a few high-level options for playgrounds with a $60,000 budget compared to a playground with a $100,000 budget. And again, these are just very high-level sketches. Staff have also reached out to the last president of the Rec Service Committee and received an email back supporting the use of the funds for this project. Staff will be using the Township engagement platform to get feedback on options of the approved budget at the approved budget level. This will happen in Q1 of 2026 with the intent for the project to be completed in this summer.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions?
Sounds like a worthwhile project.
Yes.
Nice addition for the community.
Yep. Yep. Okay, seeing no questions, I will call a vote. All in favor of the recommendation? Carried unanimously. A director update?
Thank you again, Councillor Wagner. Winter programming is underway, and here are our current numbers for January. For drop-in programs, we have had 433 people drop in. For fitness programs, we've had 164 registered for the winter program sessions. And for registered workshop programs, we've had 60 registered for the winter programs. Programs for the winter sessions are taking place in Linwood, St. Clements, and at the Bilgees Recreation Center. Spring program registration is scheduled for late March with the exact date to be announced in early March. Staff are also working on March break programming to be announced in February. Public skating continues to be in both facilities each Sunday, and we want to thank all of our sponsors that have sponsored the skates. On Family Day, there will be a sponsored skate at the Bilgees Recreation Center from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and at the St. Clements Arena from 1:30 till 3 p.m. Both of these are sponsored by MPP Mike Harris. Linwood Snowfest is scheduled for February the 7th at the Linwood Community Center. And lastly, the advertisement for the recruitment for the community members on the Recreation Advisory Committee will be posted in the near future, with the intent for the first meeting to happen in April 2026. Member names from the local Lions clubs have been submitted to staff already. That's all I have, and I'll take any questions if there are any.
Thanks. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, planning and development, Councillor Brick.
We do any director updates from the other ones?
Oh, there will be, but you're next.
Oh, sorry, I went down too far. That's my bad. Motion requires a P&D 1/2026, community improvement plan implementation, annual update 2025. So the recommendation that the council of the Township of Wellesley authorize funding in the amount of $30,000 from the CIP reserve fund to eligible projects in 2026, and further that the council continue to offer the CIP incentive program summarized in table 1 of this report for 2026. May I have a mover? Councilor Wagner, secondary Councilor Seven. You're bringing the report forward. Sorry.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, so as you'll remember, Township Council approved an update to the community improvement plan back in the spring of 2025. And with that, we opened it up to the community and got some uptake from local businesses and property owners. And so this report is essentially a summary of the projects that we funded, and fulfills the kind of the monitoring aspect of the CIP, which was recommended in the community improvement plan. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions for Bobby?
Yeah, I am a little curious. We've got $30,000 that you're identified to be used this year. The balance, I haven't got it up here, but I should have written it down. There's a balance in that account of 60,000, I think I recall. So I guess I'm just kind of confused as to why we wouldn't use that entire amount of money annually. Why are we carrying a balance in that account? There's no reason for that balance there. It's not that, so if somebody approached you today and said they wanted to build something nice on their property and it was more than their allotted amount, could you go over the 30,000? I mean, why is that buffer there? You know what I'm trying to get at?
Yep. Yeah, I do. So one of the reasons we don't typically like to, let's call it, drain the account is we do need to update the plan every once in a while, right? So we keep a bit of a balance in there as a buffer to, number one, update the plan in another 5 years or 10 years or whatever we want to decide. But also, I think one of the reasons is that we keep money there in case of situations where there is maybe a project that comes in that's unforeseen, that might create a pretty significant benefit to the community, right? So perhaps there's a property that comes in that decides that they're in a core area somewhere and they want to redevelop. And we say, well, that's a great idea. We don't have enough allocated this year, but there are opportunities for council. What we would do in those cases, we would come back to you and say, all right, this is maybe a pretty important project to the community. Would you be willing to increase that allocated amount to X amount of dollars? We can designate this as a priority site. I don't know if you remember in the plan that that's an opportunity for council to designate a priority site, and we can up the amount of funding for priority sites like in the plan. So instead of, say, I don't have the specifics, but let's say one of the grants is worth up to $5,000 and we designate a priority site, it can double to $10,000, right? I don't think there's any real issue with allocating the entire amount every year, other than the fact that we wouldn't be coming back to you if there was a large project that could take up that whole amount. So let's say that one project comes in and it's going to use or proposes to use the entire amount. we're a little bit handcuffed there in that you've allocated that amount. So let's say you wanted to allocate $60,000 this year and a project comes in 2 weeks time where we can allocate $60,000 to it, then we would be obligated to do that. And there wouldn't be any funding left for anything else. Right. So it's in our opinion, like it's good to keep a balance in the reserves just in case something comes along in order to update the plan when we need to. And we are continuing $20,000 contribution every year through the budget to keep that balance maintained.
So basically you're the $30,000 that you're allocating this year is it's an approximate amount.
It's a guesstimate, right? It would be up to that amount, right? Like you can see the amount that we spent last year, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
We didn't feel that it was appropriate to increase $30,000, right? Last year in the first year of the plan, which you would anticipate it would probably get the most uptake. Like we just did the plan, we just did the public consultation with the businesses.
Yes.
There, it's fresh in their head. Hey, I've got a project. We're going to bring it in. So I thought we were pretty happy. We would have loved to hit the $30,000. Don't get me wrong. Like we would have loved to see that amount. There was a couple other projects that they inquired with us, but never ended up submitting them. Not for reasons that there wasn't enough money or anything like that, but just they decided from a business case not to move forward with it. So
my thought was it'd be nice to have your projects decided for that year before we do the allocation, because we could say, if you had your project, and I don't know if that's possible, to have them decided, you're going to need $35,000 this year because that's what's come in.
Right.
And then, so maybe
I think it's difficult to do that. And also in the plan, we wanted to keep a check and balance on staff by bringing it to you every year to say, it's in the plan saying, you'll allocate, council will decide on how much money and what programs to offer for the year. Kind of difficult to do it in reverse, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. I'm fully supportive. There's no question about that. It's and I'd look forward to somebody coming in with a $40,000 request for something special.
Right. And we would be happy to bring it to you guys if we had that. Right. So, and with those, I think that's probably prudent, right? When you get something of significance, to bring it back here and let you know what, or you let us know what you think of it, and we can advise on how it fits the plan.
I guess the word's out a little bit better now. People are more aware of it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure that word gets around in the business community. Once you see a few projects going, you see the photos in the report. They're quite good. I think we're pleased. Certainly, we always want more applications, and if council agrees with the recommendation, then we can pretty much get started right away in advertising that, reaching out to the businesses. We have a pretty good comprehensive list of businesses now that Sam has a relationship with. So it can be pretty much started right away.
Any further questions? I'll call a question. All those in favor? That's carried unanimously. Would the director like to provide an update?
Thank you, Chair Brick. 3 things for you tonight. Work on the official plan is progressing well. We staff are reviewing a preliminary first draft that the consultants have prepared, and we'll be working with the consulting team to get that ready, get that draft in good shape for council, public and agency feedback, comments, public engagement. Probably right now looking at later in February, maybe early March. We'll see see how it goes, but we're currently on track there for our kind of June, July timeline to bring it back to you for for adoption. It'll be quite a busy spring for us, but we're moving well on that. Secondly, we're looking forward, again, as we just talked about, we're looking forward to the second year of implementation of the updated CIP, and we'll start advertising as soon as possible. I just said that a few minutes ago, and hopefully receiving more applications than last year, but also a fairly successful first year to the new program. And then finally, the staff is we're also monitoring very closely the work on the water supply capacity constraint in the Mannheim service area. And I just want to be clear, we have been assured by the region at this point that there's no impact on Wellesley's water supply. That continues to be the case. But we are sitting in on the various meetings, collaborative meetings with the other area municipalities, more as an observer, but certainly providing any information that they need from us in a timely manner. So that's it for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for the director? Seeing none, pass it back to Mayor Noack.
Okay, Road and Bridge. Do we have a director's report from Road and Bridge in Claude's absence?
Certainly do. Thank you, Mayor Noack. So for today, weather seems to be the first priority for Public Works based on everything we've experienced this, not just this calendar year, but this season so far. This winter's been relentless. The snow loading is a hot topic right now, whether it's on township roads or regional roads. The unfortunate answer that I have to give a lot of people is that we just need a break in the weather. We have the staff, we have the equipment, we just need the time. And so we haven't had time to send staff and equipment out to load some snow. When we get small breaks we have here and there, we had a few hours yesterday, we had a few more hours today, but a couple hours here and there just aren't really helping us get ahead. So we need a break in the weather to get the snow lifted, to widen the roads again, provide some more storage. So hopefully the weather will cooperate. It doesn't look like it's going to in the near future, but hopefully at some point that it will. Plowing has been going really well. Staff are obviously getting burnt out, putting a lot of hours in trying to keep the roads open for everybody. I think they've been doing an excellent job so far. Hopefully it's not too long of a winter still to go, but so that's where we're at so far with winter. The transportation mobility master plan is going really well. You should see a final presentation in around March for that with the consultant. Staff are currently reviewing phase 2 of the draft report. It's going to be an excellent document for us to reference and work in conjunction with the official plan that Tim just mentioned and help drive the future of the capital plan, asset management plan, and eventually help update the development standards, stuff like that, and just by providing that much needed strategic direction. Now that budget's approved, we already have 2 tenders out on the street, one for gravel resurfacing and another for the culvert replacement on Moser Young. There's another one that's we're talking with the engineers right now for Bridge 1 on Road 16, which is for rehabilitation. That one will be going out on the street for tender in the next couple of weeks. So there's a lot of activity happening right now. We have a pretty heavy slate of projects this summer, which is really exciting for the department and for the township. So look forward to a whole bunch of projects. And we are currently recruiting for our temporary public works supervisor to replace a parental leave. That's about all I have for today, if there's any questions.
Couple questions. Recruiting, are you getting any applications in for that position?
So the posting came down yesterday. We're just reviewing the applicants right now.
Oh, you are getting applicants, because I was wondering if it was temporary, whether their interest might not be as.
There seems to be a fairly good pool of applicants so far, so that we've been able to review. So I'm excited about that. So we're gonna, so we're just starting the review process on those applications that came in, and we'll keep you up to speed.
Another question, if I may. The snow plows and snow removal, are they working 7 days a week right now?
So they're not allowed to work 7 days a week because of hours of service and CVR vehicles, commercial vehicles and stuff like that. So they are We have run up against or come close to running up against our hours of service. So the guys have had to take certain days off here and there, but they are working as much as it'll allow. And we did have them, we had 2 staff in on the weekend blowing back some rural intersections just to open up some sight lines and things like that. That's the only real snow blowing that we've done on overtime. Just because it was so necessary. But outside of that, we still had staff in plowing all weekend. And so, yes, the township has been working 7 days a week, whether every individual staff member is or not, isn't the case just because of the hours of service. But we as a township have been working 7 days a week.
Well, I haven't heard, just mentioned, I haven't heard any complaints, a little the odd concern here and there, but I think people realize the challenge that you're under. And I just want to make sure that your staff are aware that the work, the extra time, it's certainly appreciated. And, I think I've heard somebody mention today that driving through some of the rural areas, Wellesley Township is probably doing better than anybody else as far as snow clearing. So congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. I'll pass that along to staff.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Seven.
Thanks, Mayor Nowak. No staff reports. Would Chief Redmond like to give a report?
Sure. Thank you, Councillor Seven. A few things. I'll just give you an update. Remember, we made a change, not we, the EMS made a change to our dispatch call system in December. It's called MPDS. It's the medical priority dispatch system. So I thought I'd just give you an update on that. So December 24, we ran 31 calls, 1 fire call, 17 medical calls, and 13 others. So others, MBCs, seal calls. December of 25, we ran 27, 1 fire call, 6 medical calls, and 20 other calls. Our car accidents have been much busier. If I can tag on to Chris's talk there. January 2025, last year, 2 fire calls, 17 medical calls, and 10 others. And then to date, we have run 19, 3 fire calls, 8 medical calls, and 8 other calls. So, so far it's been a significant difference. And keeping track of the medical calls we are going to, they are much higher priority. They're traumas and unconscious and VSAs and that sort of thing. So, yeah, it seems to be making a difference. Obviously, we're only 2 months into it, but we'll see how that balances out. I mean, the bigger call numbers we see to be making up with going to cars in the ditches right now, but in the long haul over the next year, we'll see how that works out for us. Some good news. We the province laid out $30 million a year ago, 2 years ago, for fire departments, municipal fire departments, and for cancer prevention. So there's some very strict parameters on what we can apply for. First year we had some flashes. We got a number of those and SCBA masks. This year we applied for gear drying racks to the tune of $48,000. And we had just found out that we received that. So we don't have that money yet, but each one of our stations will have that. So every time they go into a smoke-filled situation, wherever, we have the washing machines to clean our gear, and then they can dry them, get their suits back in much quicker. So that's a plus for us. Yeah, and then there'll be 1 more year of that. And then lastly, you'll see coming out in your tax letters, I believe in the next couple of weeks, there's a little blurb on there. We are starting a lockbox program. Our friends in the cities do that. We're kind of getting it off of them. And what it is, it's a universal lock, like the GA, the company that we're using. We started with our facilities so that a lot of our fire trucks still have a ring with about 75 keys on it, and an alarm goes off at 3 a.m. We're trying to get in there. So what we're trying to do is go almost as if we can get everybody on board to go keyless. And the only people that have the key to these lock boxes are us. So you'll see that coming out. We're trying to get the churches on board. Any of the Pondview and any place that homes, businesses, that sort of things that they can put something up there. We have the master key. They put all their keys so we can get into HVAC rooms and that kind of stuff. So just if you see that in the letter and you're kind of wondering what it is we're doing there, but it's something that we're doing. We've invested in a few to sell at the office, but we have the master box that if we need more, we can always get more. So, and that's it for fire.
Thanks, Chief Redmond. Any questions?
Just a thought.
Okay.
I'm very talkative tonight. I understand there was I want to be sort of gentle with this, but there was a serious accident on 86.
Yep.
And I think one of our firefighters was acknowledged for some extremely good work he did in saving someone's life. I'm just wondering if you want to speak to that briefly.
Yeah, the crew was, and it's interesting. I just look at my own reflection when I thought of that call, and my 23 years in fire, and prior to that being a paramedic, and I've always learned how to use a tourniquet, when to use it, and I have literally never been on a call where a tourniquet has been used. And in this situation, they had the visibility was almost zero, and we had 2 back-to-back calls, and a truck rear-ended another set of vehicles that had stopped, and they did have to extricate the truck out of there. And I believe since then they did have to amputate the trucker's the leg, but they had to use a tourniquet. And the paramedics on scene told our firefighters, amazing that you did that. Like, he probably wouldn't have lived for us to transport him. And then it came back. Another one of our DCs saw one of the medics, and they came back, and the ER doc, when they were even bringing them in, said, "Wow, like, amazing! This is whoever did this just saved this person's life." So. And that was our crew.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping we can acknowledge that individual. I mean, all the firefighters are doing a fantastic job. There's no question about that. But that's sort of that's what it's all about, isn't it? Really, when it comes right down to it.
So it's always nice to get a good news story.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilor Brick?
I did have one question, Chief. There's a question in the community about the EMS reroutes and maybe a change in how they're deployed across the region. I apologize. I meant to chat more later, but just wondering if there's any comments on the reroutes and how they're allocated across the region now.
So there's not a ton of feedback yet, Councilor Brick. We have had our first check-in, which we did a couple weeks ago, and I sent 2 specific calls, one from the Linwood station and one from the Wellesley station, specifically about that, where they were, and the visual that EMS maybe should have been there. So those were forwarded. There isn't really a hard response yet. Again, I would think because it's still so new, we are collecting everything and questioning. So when there's a question about in the past where we would feel that EMS should have been there, but they're working through the new color code system, and they're not there. And I feel like what I've heard that's sort of been is that, I don't know if that's what you mean, but they're not coming when you think they should be coming. And that's just for the first month or 2 or a few months we're going to be on this. We are meeting again the first week of February. So we're trying to do an every 3 to 4 week check-in of anything that's come up. And that's where that comes from, the officers at each station to give to me that I take in. And we push that on the EMS to kind of get to the bottom until we sort of work out the bugs, or they work out the bugs. But I haven't heard anything from the community. Everything has been internal so far.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I'll leave it to you to maybe update council on what that looks like. But the one comment I had in the community is they don't see the reroute anymore, and that's what came back to me. And they were just questioning, are the ambulances still around? And that's what I said. There's been a slight change of service and how they're deployed, and I think that's a good explanation. But maybe just for council's sake to explain
we can get that. I know there has been some change. From my understanding, the actual transport unit that used to sit on the Knopfsinger Road, I think that in the last year that's been changed mostly to just a supervisor vehicle. I think that tends to be what we see a lot of, is the transport unit being a little slower. You guys, your front line, a little more, but from what I hear, that does. So we'll keep up on that and see what that looks like. And the whole point of this exercise, not just for Waterloo Region to do it, but the reason the province is going with it is to, the main reason is to keep EMS resources available for the high priority calls so that they're not tied up on offloads at hospitals. So if it's not working, we need to make sure that we're keeping up on it.
Yeah, I appreciate that we're monitoring it. And I think Mayor Nowak did a great job years past, really advocating for the need to have that rural approach for the ambulances, especially. And you get to the outside of Linwood, we're kind of in the
Right.
we're in the mid that no man's zone. So
Yeah.
as long as we're monitoring it, and I think just continuing to activate or to acknowledge the need for the rural response, I think is good. So thank
Yeah,
you.
noted for sure. To keep that up.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks.
Okay, admin and finance. Do we have a director's report?
Thank you, Mayor Nowak. Actually, nothing new to share from administration and finance this evening, but happy to take any questions if there are any.
Don't want to talk about the upcoming tax bill that's coming. Perfect. No, any questions to Jeff? No questions. Okay. Information package. There's nothing been brought forward. Any unfinished business? Yes, Councillor Seven.
This is probably for Chris. I understand that there are cameras installed in the township vehicles now. Is that, like, they have been installed?
There are cameras that have been
Okay.
installed. Yes, that's correct.
Is there any way to disable them until,
So they are
Discussion?
not active.
okay, so if there was an accident, there would be, like, you wouldn't be able to look at the data?
They may be able to check them, like if the provider looked at them, but right now we don't have that ability.
Okay,
So until we have a couple of policies in place and different things like
okay,
that.
so nothing's being monitored or?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Next meeting, February 10th, council meeting, committee of the whole meeting, February 24th, council meeting, March 10th. Motion to adjourn, Councillor Wagner, all in favor, and that's carried.